And welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United lose 2-1 to Wolverhampton Wanderers in the FA Cup quarter-final, and they are out. And basically, they probably just handed Manchester City the quadruple in many ways, because we're meant to be the people stopping them. You can't sit back and say, I really hope Man City don't win the quadruple and beat our treble, and then go out like a bloody butterfly's fart in the FA Cup. It was look, I love Solskjaer. He should be the manager of Manchester United. I love Pogba, Rashford, Martial, Luke Shaw, Lindelof, Herrera. I love these players. But everybody was shit tonight. Solskjaer was shit. All those players I've just mentioned were shit. There was no excuse for that. That is meant to be our best 11. That is our manager that we want. And that performance, if Wolves had the bite of a guard dog, we had the bite of a bowl of mashed potato, as I said in the watch-along. It was terrible, and there is no excuse for it. I'll do the player ratings in a minute, but that was absolutely... I mean, people are saying Mourinho out. That was a Mourinho performance. It was lethargic. It was tepid. It was absolutely shambolic. I'm not going to say the word disgrace, because we've had a really good run under Ollie. And I've got to say, by no means do I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has that made me question him as a manager? Of course it hasn't, because we've got a massive April coming. We've had a brilliant last 3 months. But I would not be one of those fans who sits there like after the Arsenal game and we went, oh, it was one of those days. We didn't take our chances. We probably didn't deserve to lose. Today's different. Today is not Arsenal. Today is Wolves deserve to win that game. And the most worrying thing is, the warnings were there for a long way through that game, and we seemed unable to react to it. The first half, Wolves basically, fair play. It's a cup final for you. You've knocked United out. You're not going to win the FA Cup. City will destroy you. But Wolves, for the home team, park the bus. Is that what Wolves do then? I don't watch Wolves every week. They basically parked the bus and tried to hit us on the break, which is fine for the home team to do it. But if you're the away team, you've got to move the ball quickly in the final third. We were shit in the final third. We didn't move the ball very effectively at all. We seemed terrified of putting a cross into the box. It was like the deep end with a great white shark in it, and we're in the shallow end. Ooh, let's tiptoe round the edge. Jump in there with a harpoon and kill the bastard. It was poor. It was really, really poor. We had so much of the ball and we did nothing in the final third. And that, fairly at half-time, we're sat there going, this is a 1-0 game. We've got to score out. We've got to do something. I think our best chance was the goal in the last minute. I mean, we're 2-0 down with 20 minutes to go, and we do sod all until 30 seconds to go. And it's just unacceptable. The substitutions he made were odd. Oh, let's bring Mata, McTominay and Pereira on. I mean, we're trying to get 2 goals back here. I know he didn't have anybody on the bench, but what's Fred done wrong as well? What has Fred done wrong? I thought second half against Arsenal, he was fantastic. Yet again, he doesn't even bring him on today. There's some weird shit going on with Fred. I thought Fred was really good second half against Arsenal. I thought, maybe we're now going to start to see the development of Fred in a United shirt. Well, clearly not, because we're still going to bring Pereira, Mata, and a finished Mata, Pereira and McTominay on ahead of Fred. Again, very, very weird. Don't really understand that. But look, if you're going to take the praise, you've got to take the criticism. This is not about being Solskjaer out. This is not about Pogba's shit. This is not about Martial's overrated. This is not about Marcus Rashford being Trashford. I love all those people. I love Solskjaer as our manager. Martial and Rashford are my 2 favourite players. Pogba on his day is the best midfielder in the world. But I can't make excuses for that performance. Pogba gets given the captain's armband and plays like he's vintage Mourinho again. Rashford is like the Bird Box Challenge. He's playing with a bloody blindfold on. He's shooting 50 yards over the box. He's falling all over the place. His passing is ridiculous. Martial, he looks more rusty than my old bike that's been left out for 4 years in pouring rain. Terrible performance from Martial. Lingard, again, poor. The thing is, you can forgive some of the performances, like Herrera, only just back from injury. Lingard, only just back from injury. Martial, only back from injury. Matic, relatively new, back from injury. But for all 4 of them to play badly like that, and then Rashford plays badly, Pogba plays badly, Dalot plays badly, Lindelof plays badly, Smalling plays badly. For all of those players to play badly, something's weird there, and it worries me, because the one thing we've always said under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that this team will always play for the badge. They might not get results like the Arsenal game. I thought we were a bit unlucky against Arsenal because we we created the chances. They took theirs, we didn't take ours. We were a bit unlucky. Tonight, there's nothing. This is the first significant loss under Solskjaer where we sit back and go, we were shit, we deserve to lose, and I cannot find anything positive from that performance. There's nothing positive from that performance. I mean, Romero, but we know Romero's a good backup keeper to De Gea. But there's nothing good. Wolves deserve to win 2-0. I cannot flip it. I cannot say, oh, this, refereeing decision, this, that and the other. We should have done better than we did. We didn't do better than we did. We were totally and utterly shit. The tactics were shit. The players were shit. If that was under Mourinho, people would be ranting. That was a Mourinho-type performance. I don't understand what Solskjaer was trying to do. I don't understand why so many good players were badly. Hopefully, that is a blip. That performance is a blip. It's not a one of those days, like I said. Arsenal was one of those days. You're going to get one of those days where you don't take your chances, you play quite well and you lose a game of football. That's one of those days. Tonight was shit. And that has to be a blip. But it's a worrying blip because you're like, why couldn't we respond from the warning of the first half? Why didn't we come out in the second half and do things differently? The warning was there. Tactically, you should change that. We didn't change it. Why did so many of our good players consistently play shit for 90 minutes? Why could they not change it? It was a mundane, tepid, can't be arsed performance. And the fan cams are going to be very, very interesting because these are people who are going all around the country paying good money to follow that club, who love the club and will keep doing it, but will probably be quite confused as to why they put in such a bad performance tonight. It doesn't make any sense, and I can't really give you anything than that. My man of the match, I'll go through the player ratings in a minute. My man of the match might shock you. I'm going to shock you here. My man of the match was between two players. I'll read the super chats in a minute, so thanks everyone who's firing them in. But I'm going to give man of the match to Luke Shaw. So smash a like on the video if Luke Shaw was your man of the match. I'm going to explain this because I think if you are a follower of football and you're not a Hyperbole fan who's just going Ollie out, Trashford, Luke Shaw cost us the game, this, that and the other. If you actually watched that game, I thought Luke Shaw was the best player on the pitch for Manchester United. You can either give it to Shaw or Romero in my mind, but I give it to Luke Shaw. For one, in the last minute, he got us the equaliser with a brilliant run down the left-hand side. For two, he probably had more touches on the ball than anybody. His passing was good. His positional sense was good. And he doesn't shirk a challenge and he doesn't give up and he keeps going. He was one of the players who kept going. And that's part of the reason I gave him man of the match, because he got us that goal at the end when everybody else was indisciplined, reckless, couldn't be arsed. Luke Shaw actually understood what the shirt's about. He kept going, he kept going, he kept going. He was at fault for the second goal. But if you watch the second goal back, he is isolated. The ball comes back to him. He tries to make a tackle. The player gets a lucky nutmeg and he slips and he falls over. And it can happen to anybody. I think Lindelof's at fault more for the goal because Lindelof can close that player down and gives him a free shot. Luke Shaw has a responsibility on there. He slips from the nutmeg. He's got part to do with that. It's unfortunate. But Lindelof does not get over and does not cover the shot enough. And there's people saying there, are you joking that Luke Shaw was man of the match? But no, I'm not joking, because I think you're joking by having a pop at him because you didn't watch the game. You didn't watch the match. You didn't watch the match. You are what's called a sensationalist flip-flop. And you should get an Arsenal shirt on if you think Luke Shaw had a bad game. Because he didn't have a bad game. He always wanted the ball. He always kept going forward. He had Martial and Pogba next to him and Rashford ahead of him, who was shit. He actually got us a goal at the end because he was one of the only players who kept fighting for the shirt. And his overall performance was flawless, apart from when he fell on the floor for the second goal. So if you're saying Luke Shaw had a bad game, it's agendas coming out again, isn't it? Oh, I've got a chance to go in on Luke Shaw now. That's why Luke Shaw's shit. But you know, even Rance, who doesn't like Luke Shaw going forward, if he on the fan cam says Luke Shaw's shit, well, you said he's shit because he doesn't do anything going forward. He was the only player trying to go forward. He was the only player who got a fucking assist tonight. So if you're having an agenda against Luke Shaw, watch the bloody game back and put your frustration somewhere else. Because I think that's what's going to happen in the United fan base tonight. We're all annoyed. So we're all going to try and find somebody to blame. And the point is, the people to blame are the people we all like. Pogba, Martial, Rashford, Lingard, Lindelof, Solskjaer. We love these people. They were at fault tonight. That's why I'm not going to go, Pogba's shit, he's just a B-Tech Xhaka. Solskjaer shouldn't get the job, let's get Pochettino in. Those theories would be stupid because that's not where we are as a club. We're on a journey, we're doing really, really well. And sometimes you will have a night like tonight where hopefully it's a blip. but it was shit. And we've got to take it on the chin. We've got to accept it. There are no excuses. And I don't think if you're going to blame anybody, you've got to blame the manager and the players. There was so many bad performances tonight. And tactically, we never changed. We never adapted. I bet the Wolves manager sat there going, my plan worked. Sit back, soak up the pressure at home, hit them on the break when they get frustrated. And they're the home team doing that. You know, that was like a game at Old Trafford. We had all of the ball, we're on the front foot, we can't create nothing, they hit us on the break. So we fell into the trap and we didn't adapt. We did not adapt, and it was frustrating. It was really frustrating. Let's take some of your comments. Armband too heavy for Pogba, says Alcazan. Pogba, as the captain of the team, should be doing far more than that. He had a very bad performance. But I did say this before the game. The experiment with Pogba, whether he's a captain of Manchester United or not, are we really bothered? Rooney, the captaincy ruined him. Maybe Pogba's not a captain. Maybe Pogba is a world-class midfielder who just needs to focus on his game and be led by another. He's not a captain on the pitch. And he didn't look like a captain on the pitch. But maybe he is one, but he wasn't tonight. So I would agree with that. Martial and Pogba are anonymous, says Dylan McBride. Really poor. Really poor. Two of my favourite players, really poor. And you should never be afraid of that. You know, I don't like agendas because, like, people said you had an agenda against Fellaini. But I'd never say he played badly when he played well. And you know, I'm not going to pretend Martial played well tonight because he's my favourite player. He was terrible. I'm not going to pretend Pogba played well tonight. He's one of my favourite players. He was terrible. I'm not going to pretend Lindelof played well tonight. I thought he was shit. And I thought for a centre-back to not close down that shot on the second goal and give him a free shot was awful. I thought Romero should have done better as well, but I'll give Romero a free pass because he made two great saves before that. So for me, football opinion is about, you know, we've lost the game. There will be Arsenal fans, there will be Chelsea fans, there will be Liverpool fans trying to mock us tonight. Embrace the L. Embrace it because we deserve to lose and we'll take what we got. But don't start because you've got a favourite player or because you love that manager. Don't be a fan who goes, I'm going to try and build an agenda against somebody I don't like to protect those that I do. I don't do that. I don't mind how much I like a manager. I don't mind how much I like a player. If they don't perform in the club that I support, then they'll get the criticism that they deserve. And everybody deserves criticism tonight. Tactically, we did not respond to a threat that was going on from minute one. That goal, when did they score? Did they score like an hour in 70 minutes? The warning signs were there for ages. Absolutely ages. We got what we deserved. When it went 1-0, I thought that was it. I didn't think we were going to get back from 1-0. I thought we were out. 2-0, it was definitely gone. We did not react to the warning signs. It was pitiful. It was. I tell you what, I was actually surprised when the camera panned to the tunnel and Ollie was sat there. I expected to see Mourinho sat there like this because it was a Mourinho performance. Matic went back to taking 20 touches to pass it backwards. Lingard went back to the sideways passing. Rashford went back to indecisive, holding on to the ball too long. Pogba went back to frustrated, not being able to find a pass. Martial went back to getting the ball, sucking four players towards him and losing it. It was like a Mourinho performance. It was really, really weird. And we just didn't respond. We didn't react. And we got what we deserved. And it's not one of those days. It was just a shit performance. And we've got to take it and understand it. It's the pink boots, says Evergan. We lost on purpose, says Torella. Well, I don't believe anybody loses on purpose. And if we did lose that game on purpose, I would be disgusted because this is what matters. It's a Manchester United shirt. You don't lose games on purpose. You can't do that. You can't go into it. Paul Jones says we were too slow. We were way too slow. Way too slow. Matic is useless. I think with Matic, Herrera, Martial and Lingard, you've probably got to wait till after the international break and see how they come back because they're only just coming back from injuries. And Shaw, Rom, Pog, Rashford were terrible. Tony trying, says selling price. Well, Romelu Lukaku was terrible. He was invisible. He didn't even bloody play, mate. And Mourinho hangover, says Alicia. It's a bit too late to use that as an excuse. Too much time off leads to old habits, says Warrior Fellaini. At least Matic kept the ball, says Daniel Titan Hera. Don't lose trust in Ollie. Wolves were very well organised, says Jack MUFC. I just think we should have responded in a better way. I just think that we should have had we should have had a way to, I think we should have gone 4-3-3. What annoyed me most of all in that game was the fact that we didn't react. We didn't react to that game at all. We didn't look to change it up. It was really, really, really disappointing, and I really would have hoped tactically we would have done a lot more. As I say, because when I was looking at it, I was like, we're a Premier League football side. We're a Premier League football side, right? I'm going to do the match. I'm going to do the player ratings now, but we're a Premier League football side, and let me do that. Premier League football side, right? Now that's not the formation we played. Lingard was playing here. This is what we should have done in the second half. We should have gone 4-3-3 to provide some balance. Diego Dalot was like one man and his dog, just walking up and down there on a walk on his own. He's got no support. Herrera's not a player to support him. But down the left-hand side, you've got Shaw, Pogba, Martial, but you've got most of the Wolves team. And then you've got Lingard coming here as well. And you've got Rashford coming in here. We were so predictable. Everything was down the left-hand side. We were stacked up on the left-hand side, and Wolves stacked us up. And you look to the right-hand side so many times, and there's so much space. But Dalot can't do it all on his own, and you're like, we're a Premier League football side, and tactically, we're making it so easy for the opposition. I mean, Rashford against the back five is screwed. He's got no physicality. He's not very good in the air. And I think that's why we weren't putting crosses into the box. But if you're not going to put balls into the box, you know how you beat a back five. If you're not going to put balls into the box and threaten them that way, you move the ball quick. And we didn't move the ball quick. It was like this. Matic, ring a roses, back to Lindelof. Ring a roses, side to Shaw. Lingard's coming inside but knocking it that way instead of going like this. What we should have been is into Rashford quick, into Martial quick, back to Rashford. Yeah, you're going to lose the ball a lot, but we lost the ball anyway. But we should have been on the front foot a lot more than we were, and we should have moved the ball a lot quicker. It was slow, lethargic, and we lost a lot of discipline in the second half. I mean, we had that VAR decision, didn't we? It was never a yellow card. Darren Brown says we'll smash that Wolves team in the league. Look, the positive is we've got the international break now. Solskjaer will bollock them. We've got a Champions League game against Barcelona. We play Watford straight after the international break. Then we play Wolves midweek. Then we've got a whole week off because the FA Cup weekend we're not playing now. Got a whole week off before Barcelona. That could be a big week off in relation to April, which is going to be very, very hectic. So we've probably helped ourselves in our April campaign by not getting knocked out of the FA Cup. But that's not a positive. We've basically handed Man City the FA Cup. We don't want to be doing that. And we've embarrassed ourselves, and we've put in a very, very poor performance tonight. Let's do the match. Let's do the player rating. Smash a like on the video, everybody. I went Luke Shaw as my man of the match. If you went Romero, fine, fair enough. I would give Romero a solid 8. I thought that the save he made from the header was world class. I thought he made a lot of saves. He made the one-on-one save in the first half. I thought he was at fault for the second goal. I thought he should have had his front post covered a little bit better. But he was nowhere near as fault as the second goal as Lindelof was. Lindelof should have got a lot tighter. And I saw Lindelof do it a couple of times. He seems to have this bad habit of giving a striker an extra yard. And you can't do that. You've got to get tighter. Dalot, probably a 5. Not a good performance. I mean, if you want to talk about the first goal, people will talk about Pogba and Lindelof. The first goal, watch it back. It's Lingard, Herrera and Dalot, and it's one Wolves player, and he skips past all three of them. That is pub football. So, I'm sorry, I'm going to give Lingard a 5 as well, because I thought that cost us the game. That laziness cost us the game. Smalling, 6. And that could be a generous 6. Lindelof, for his high standards, you've got to give him a 5. He looked ropey today. He was at fault for the second goal. He was indisciplined after we went 2-0 down. You've got to have a better head than that on a United shirt, because I tell you what, United can be 2-0 down and win it. You know, if you think about it, Lindelof, that was petulant. It wasn't a red card, but it was indiscipline. And I saw a few players indisciplined. Rashford, indisciplined, yellow card. Dalot, indisciplined, yellow card. Lindelof, indisciplined, red card, knocked down to a yellow card because it was only a yellow. We're Manchester United. We're 2-0 down. Don't lose your head. Our club is full of coming back from 2-0 down. We lost that game 2-1. We lost that game 2-1 and we ran out of time and we could have got a draw. As shit as we are, we only lost 2-1. So keep your head. And I don't think Lindelof did today. Luke Shaw, for me, I'm giving him a 7, but he got my man of the match. I can't give him an 8 because it wasn't an 8 out of 10 performance. But what I like, the reason I gave Luke Shaw man of the match for me, and I know a lot of you will give it to Romero, the reason I gave him man of the match is because he's the one player who stayed disciplined. He's the one player who kept fighting. He got us the assist for the goal at the end. He never gave up. He kept trying going forward. He was unlucky. He slipped. He was unlucky. And Lindelof should have covered him, and he didn't. He was at fault for the second goal, but Lindelof should have covered him. And again, I thought, apart from the slip on the second goal, defensively he was flawless. He was getting exposed a lot because Martial wasn't tracking back. I thought he played really well. Matic, 4. I just thought he was awful today, Matic. Herrera, I'd give a 5. I thought he did okay, but you've got to give those 3 a 5 just because of the first goal. Shocking. 3 players on 1 Wolves player and he skips past all 3. It's not acceptable at this level. Pogba, probably a 5 by his standards. It hurts. It hurts me to give these players such low scores because I really like a lot of them, but you've got to, you've got to go Martial a 5 as well. Really, really poor. And Rashford a 5. And I don't think I've ever given such low scores to so many players. But when you look at that there, that's why we lost that game. Pogba 5, Herrera 5, Lingard 5, Rashford 5, Martial 5, Lindelof 5, the low 5, Matic 4, Smalling a 6. Only 2 players come out of that game with credibility, and I think that's Shaw and Romero. Everybody else shit. And you're going to lose a game of football. It doesn't matter if Wolves are Wigan or Wolves are Man City. They're going to win that game. We gave that game up. We did give that game up. Because if you put in performances like that, you don't deserve to win a game of football. You really don't. And some people are giving Rashford a 3. Some people are giving Pogba a 4. Look, I don't disagree with you. That's just my scores. If you want to go lower, I don't disagree with you. You can go as low as you want. They didn't play well, and that's why we lost that game of football. It wasn't good enough from Manchester United. It really, really wasn't. And you've got to, not low enough, says Kratos. You've got to go lower than that. Damien says give Shaw a 5. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people want to go in on Luke Shaw because it's the old agenda again, and I'm not going down the agenda route. I'm not. If you want me to go down the agenda route, let's give Matic a -10. I don't really want Matic in a United shirt, but I'm not going to be immature. And actually, you didn't watch the game. You did not watch the game if you're giving Luke Shaw 4s and 3s and whatever. Because you tell me what he did wrong other than slip on the second goal. He got an assist at the end. He kept fighting. He always wanted the ball. He was always bombing forwards, backwards and forwards. He defended really well. He won every aerial duel. He made loads of interceptions in one-on-one situations. He slipped over for the goal. It happens. It was pissing it down with rain. Lindelof still should have covered him, and Lindelof still should have not let the shot go in. And I like Lindelof. But if you're going to castigate and say somebody's shit for slipping over when the rest of their game was brilliant, you're a fool. I'm sorry, in my opinion, you're a fool because you're not watching games of football. You're letting agendas take over you. You're letting hate grab hold of you. Can you not just accept that Luke Shaw was not the worst player on the pitch for United today by a long, long way? And your big heroes, your Martials, your Pogbas, your Rashfords were shit. They're my heroes as well. They're the players that I like. But I'm mature enough to be able to say, yes, you're one of my favourite players, but what the hell were you doing tonight? You were crap. But, people get mad and there'll be people out there saying Ollie's been found out, Pogba's no better than Xhaka. You'll get all that. And if they're still doing that in a month's time, then fair enough. But it's one game. It's a very bad game, though, and we've got to accept it. But it is one game. And I don't think it's a time for agenda. I think you've got to look at it in a very fair way. Luke Ledger says people saying Ollie out are an embarrassment. Shantana Dar, Rashford has hit bad form the last 3 matches. Don't know if it's the injury. You better get out of it. Clearly we need a striker or a right winger as a priority. I think Rashford needs to have an injury and not go on international break. If Solskjaer's got any intelligence about him, he will get Rashford out of England because he needs time off. I think Rashford's been terrible lately, but it has coincided with when he got the injury against Liverpool, and he's been awful ever since. Pink Boots FC tonight, suspects Zed. Nick P, positives are that our players are back, just need to get fit and Rashford resting. Oslo, also we can plan how to beat Wolves, this is their only game plan. Yeah, I think we beat Wolves in the league as long as we turn up and everyone plays average. They were below average today, and that's why we lost. Lars Eric Brabakken says Spirit was rubbish today, not all down to tactics. Agree. I do agree with that. Luke Skywalker, United squad is very overrated. The faster people realise it, the better. We are not better than 5th place in the league. We need a big investment if United want to challenge for the league. Bottlers, fair play, fair point. I've said this in January, we should have invested. Ollie has exceeded expectations and that squad is not good enough. It's not good enough. It needs a lot of investment. People are talking about, a couple of weeks ago, imagine if we'd had the whole season, we'd be challenging for the title. That team's not a title winning team. I think it can be a top 4 team. It's not a title winning team. It's not. It needs investment. T. Ballard, Martial was far left, Rashford centre, but Lingard left the low exposed and killed the width. Matic is done. Spot on. We'll smash that Wolves team in the league, says Darren Brown. Crossing the channel, players look disinterested. Only Romero deserves praise. I really don't know whether we'll bounce back. We've handed City a pop at the quadruple now. Stephen Featley, I didn't know how Manchester United bring back Jose as Manchester United manager. Gooberface, how do I join the United Stand Discord on Monday? I'll tell you about that. Sure, yeah, we've done that one. Mark, would you drop anyone for the next game, says Daniel Dwar. No. That's our best 11. That's what's disappointing. That's our best 11. Gunners for Life 97. Arsenal have brought United back down to reality. Take the L. The Sloth lol. This proves Ollie needs money to buy young and hungry players. Ali Hassani, it seems very clear we need a CDM, centre-back, right-sided centre-back, centre midfielder and a right winger. Can't blame Ollie for this lacklustre team he inherited. What do you think, Mark? Well, I look at the bench today, and the only one I didn't understand was Fred. But I looked at the bench at the start of the game, and I was like, if Rashford, Martial or Lingard have a bad game, we're screwed. Because there's nothing on the bench to replace them with. Unfortunately, all 3 of them did it. What are you supposed to do? There was nothing on the bench. Sanchez is shit anyway, but he's injured. Lukaku is injured. Greenwood, I think, was ill. There's nothing. I mean, maybe he should have put Chong on the bench, but is he ready? I don't know. Akshay Sood, Pogba's so inconsistent, it's crazy. The thing about Pogba is he's been ridiculously consistent for 3 months. He has. But today was awful. Why are people calling for Ollie? What a joke, says Adam Morris. I agree with that. I think the players wanted to go out of the FA Cup, says Ricky. I would hope so. I would hope not. That would be really unfair on us fans, and especially the ones at the ground, to travel and then they've thrown a game. I would hope that would never happen in high-end sport. Tyrone Williams, I like Ollie, but he needs to make changes faster. The warning signs were there, Tyrone. I don't know why we didn't. Oni Okabi says, we're clueless against the pack, the part of the bus team. Edward Wood, the apathy and ignorance of our fan base is incredible. This club has been bastardised by the owners. Our squad and the manager are dire, and we're light years from competing for titles. Rest in peace, Manchester United. Long live Glazer FC. Akshay Sood, how on earth do you play so slow after being 2-0 down? Where is the damn urgency? That felt like a Van Hal performance. Play for the shirt, lads. Stephen Featley, Fred has been deeply mistreated at Manchester United this year. I don't understand why he wasn't involved today. I really don't. He played well in the second half against Arsenal. Can't even get on the team on the pitch today. The team we used against PSG would have won. Dennis G, 2000, why are we taking short corners? The corners were abysmal today. T. Ballard, Matic is not rusty. Rusty is done. And Hatanas Kumchai says, honeymoon period is officially over. It just lasted longer than it should. Well, it is over. It's how we bounce back now, isn't it? That's another thing I don't think I've even mentioned. We lost to Arsenal on Sunday. This game was meant to be bounced back, and we've not bounced back. We've bloody gone underground. We've gone even worse. We're not bouncing. Mark, who is your number 1 midfield target this summer? Oh God, Verratti and Dembele and Didi. Kante if we can do it. Somebody with a bit of tenacity in there in the CDM role. It's so lethargic and slow. Sadiq Hussain, since PSG players have regressed, no work ethic, no pressing, and Ollie's looking clueless. We looked like a Jose Mourinho team today. That's the problem. It wasn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I said this before we even had a game as a Manchester United manager, the way he wants to play football is fast pressing, fast movement of the ball. We did none of those things today. So, I don't know. I don't know. We go into an international break and it's highly, highly disappointing to go into an international break after 2 losses. We've not scored a goal in 180. Oh no, we did. Rashford scored. I forgot about that. But it was highly frustrating, and I'm not happy that we're out the FA Cup. It was the lowest priority. The Champions League and top 4 is more important, but we shouldn't be going out of the FA Cup in those circumstances. So I'm very disappointed with it. But what I would say is, look, if you're frustrated and you think somebody was shit and you don't agree with what I've said or you don't agree with what people said in the live comments, fine. That's what football opinion's all about, and it's great that you've got that opinion. But what I would try and say, and I think we've all got a responsibility here, is yes, be disappointed. Yes, be pissed off that we're going to get bantered. But most important of all, we're Manchester United. I still believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man for the job. I still think over the last 3 months we've seen enough good play to trust this team to bounce back in April and get us into top 4. And we've got to stick together. It's going to be a long 2 weeks, of course it is, but that was terrible tonight. I don't want to hear it was one of those days, because it was one of those days against Arsenal. Tonight it was just lack of effort, lack of tactics, and total and utterly deserving to lose a game of football. But I don't think we need to flip-flop. I don't think we need to overreact. I think if you're angry about losing, fine. It was a shit performance. That's great. But in a couple of days' time, we've got to work past this and focus on April. That's what it's all about. I don't want to be hearing, oh, I don't think Ollie's the right for the job. I don't want to hear stuff like Pogba can fuck off. I don't want to hear things like Rashford's just the Danny Welbeck, the new Danny Welbeck. I don't want to hear any of that, because I don't believe it and I don't think it does us any good. It's really disappointing tonight, but let's stick together. Let's embrace April and look forward to it, and let's hope and trust. We want Ollie to be tested. We want him to be tested in all scenarios. We've seen the highest highs like PSG. We're now seeing really embarrassing lows. If he doesn't, let's just say, on the final note, let's just say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loses the next 6 games and we play like that tonight. Don't give him the job. Don't give him the job. Honeymoon's period's over. He can't respond to a crisis. He's not the right man. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we will respond. But I think that's a good thing. These sort of performances are a good thing, because if we respond to it, happy days. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and the fan cams are going to be coming in very, very soon, and it's going to be very interesting to see what they've got to say. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Watch out for the fan cams, and I'll speak to you later. But I am disappointed. You know, I'm not going to embrace the loss, because that's not what we do. But you've got to accept it and say that the better team won and we were shit. Thanks for watching.